The officer was inspecting the shipping container with his gun drawn, completely unaware that dozens of stowaways were hiding behind a steel partition. We held our breath. Nobody moved a muscle. He noticed the container's depth didn't add up and ordered his men to fire. The bullets didn't punch through the back wall, which meant there was a hidden space inside. The officer walked up to the steel plate and told whoever was inside to surrender. No one responded. He announced they were going to open fire. That's when a girl pushed open the iron door. The officer looked pleased, but a second later, he gave the order, and his men opened heavy fire on the steel plate. His men cleaned up the scene skillfully, yet they failed to notice that another person was still hiding in the wooden box up above. That someone was me. I'd sensed something was wrong, and climbed up just in time. I survived like this. After the container was hoisted up, I was finally on my way, but the journey at sea was nothing like I'd imagined. The ship barely made it out to open water before a massive storm hit. The hull was rocking at nearly 90-degree angles. I pounded on the walls of the container, screaming through the air holes as loud as I could, but the thunder swallowed every sound. A crewman seemed to hear me, but then the next second, when I came to, I was still inside the container. I walked up to the cave entrance to check. Nothing but open ocean. I checked every other hole I could find. Every direction, water, as far as I could see. This means I'm drifting alone on the vast ocean. I pulled out my phone to call for help, but there was zero signal. At this rate, the whole container would be underwater in a matter of days. I had to find a way to get the water out. I tore through the wooden crates inside the container, searching for anything useful. I found a box of raincoats and threw one on to stay warm. In the corner, I cracked open another crate, a case of rum. Not water, but it would keep me hydrated enough to survive. I eventually found a roll of duct tape and used it to seal the holes. It held for a while, but the water pressure ripped them right back open. Tape wasn't going to cut it against that kind of force. Then, I remembered up in the top section where I'd been hiding, there was still one crate I hadn't opened. I took a small knife out of my bag and cut the straps binding the wooden box. After opening it, there was nothing but a pile of fresh-keeping boxes inside. My last hope was shattered, but then I noticed the rubber seals on the lids. If I cut those off, I could shape them into plugs to seal the holes. And the containers themselves, I could use them to bail out the water. It worked. I pulled myself out of immediate danger. I used the tape to mark the highest water line on the wall. A solo fight for survival at sea had officially begun.